Welcome back to Society Case Files. My name is Robert, and today I'm going to talk about some of the armies that I'm putting together after building just tons and tons and tons of units. I've done a lot of build videos, but I haven't really talked about what I'm doing with them all. And while I do love the puzzle solving of making stuff, building the different forces, I am starting to get a little bit tired of that being the sole thing that I've been focusing on. And so I've been moving into a few other things. Anyway, if you like this kind of content and you want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Otherwise, I'm going to dive right into a couple of plans and what I've already done. So one of the hardest parts for me getting started in all of this was the painting, mostly because I was afraid I was just going to be absolutely terrible at it. And it just took me a little while to find a couple of models that I could practice on and then just get better, like all things. But for some reason, painting was really in need of demystification for me because, quite frankly, these are very expensive and I didn't want them to look like trash. So I needed to pick some things that I didn't really care about as much at very first and then progress into something that I liked a little bit more and then finally come out at the end and just start doing stuff without that fear that I was going to ruin things. I'm going to talk about the kill teams that I've finished and based, and we'll do that in a few moments. I'm also going to talk about what I'm currently striving towards, which is a spearhead. I have a combat patrol now. I've got a bunch of kill teams, and now it's time to try something that is not in the 40K universe. I just want to break from it, and I want to paint some vampires and skeletons. The trick is that for a long time, I didn't really have a plan. I was building stuff that I bought because I thought it looked cool, and I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. More recently, within the last several months, I've really started to deep dive the rules and start to understand what is actually good for your armies or whatever you're doing and what is not the best, and trying to put together a list. In order to get there, though, they do have bite-sized steps towards getting what you need done. I think that if you were to take it from the perspective of what is the quickest thing you could possibly do to get in and play a game, it would probably be Warhammer Underworlds. You basically buy an army that probably has no more than 6 units, and that's a really big one. Some of these only have 3. You can put them together very quickly because they're pushed together, and then you're painting them and you're good to go. Oddly enough, I'm still not quite done with my primary Underworlds army, which is the Crimson Court. I have one more model to paint on that, but it was only 4, and they're very cool. They're just really neat little vampire models. There are plenty of choices. I have all of the Underworld's armies that are current that they have rules for right now. They came in these cool box sets where you get 4 at a time. They're basically $100, so you get a $25 warband each time, and the rules are all available, so you get everything you need to play the game. It's very simple, and it's a great bite-sized way to get into things. The next step up for me would either be War Cry or Kill Team. Kill Team, you could have a pretty fair-sized kill team, like the Imperial Guard characters can have 14 models, but some of them have as few as 7. And then that will get you into a game as well pretty fast. Now, I've actually built several of those, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And the first one we're going to talk about is the Angels of Death. This was in the starter set that they just recently came out with. And the models that are included in that are from these like FOMO boxes that were released where basically you bought mystery boxes to see if you got the units you wanted. Well, now they're all available in a starter set. I saw it on Amazon for just over $90. You get some Space Marines and some Chaos Marines. You get some terrain that I wasn't super fond of, and you get some rules. Now, the rules that are included in that aren't necessarily the rules that would work in the main game. I got the cards for the Angels of Death, and they were considerably different than what came in the starter set. But as far as learning Kill Team goes, it's not a bad option. Plus 7 models. They're very big and detailed, super easy to paint. I made mine into Blood Angels, as you could see, and they were just super fun. So that was one kill team. The very first kill team I ever did was the Novitiates for the Sisters of Battle. Now, I screwed these up in a major way. I was not using the best primer for these at the beginning. I was using Army Painter, and it's a lot thicker than the Citadel one. So I first primed them one color, and then for whatever reason, I decided I didn't like that, so I primed them with a different one, and it was too thick and layered on, and I lost a lot of the detail of the models. These models that I've shown on the video are a combination of some of them and some new ones that I did, because I basically wanted every unit you could get, all the variations. So I bought a second box, and I put them together as well. So some of these are new paint jobs, some are the old ones. I mean, they look passable to me. I'm okay with it. The last kill team that I want to talk about, because I have also done the veteran Imperial Guard, but they're not really complete because I don't have their 4 troopers that are necessary. So we're only going to talk about this last one, which is the Rogue Traders. These were my pride and joy. My absolute favorite job of painting that I've ever done. I think they're amazing. I actually am very proud of them. And this is what they look like. Very cool characters. Finishing them, even more than anything else, just felt great because I had been terrified of trying to put them, well, to try and put the brush to them. There's just so many crazy details on them, and I really wanted to bring them all out. I didn't want to do a half-assed job, and so I really went to town. I got some very fine brushes, and I went in there and did my best. And ultimately, that's what this is about. It's breaking down the hobby into bite-sized chunks so that there is some objective that is complete at the end, rather than being like, oh my gosh, I've got a wall of gray and I don't even know where to start. This really does provide me, at least, the psychology to continue on and know that I'm getting somewhere, rather than being like, I guess I'll just grab another Space Marine and paint him up. Now, if you know about Combat Patrol or Spearhead, these are set units that you don't really have choices about. You run that particular set of guys, and that's it. So the cool thing is that most often they can be used in the big game. So like my Combat Patrol I did with the Blood Angels, it has 5 Intercessors, 5 Incursors. It's got a Librarian. It's got an Impulsor tank. It's ready to go. And all of these things can be used in the real 40K game. But in the interim, you could just start playing. You could be playing Combat Patrol and not have to worry so much about, oh my goodness, I need, to fill out my ranks and I need to get all this stuff painted. This is a very good head start on getting an army ready for the main game. Now, I have built and prepared the second Combat Patrol for the Blood Angels. It's the Sanguinary one where you've got tons of Sanguinary Guard and 10 Assault and Intercessors, I believe. And it's a little absurd. I think it's a lazy Combat Patrol in a lot of ways. It's just like basically 2 units and a captain. And it is what it is. Painting those up will be a very good step towards getting a full army done. I've also done this with the Sisters of Battle. It just so happened that I had 10 of the Sisters painted, which is part of the, it's part of both Combat Patrols, to be perfectly honest. I've got the Rhino transport done, and I just have a few more units, I think 8 more to go, and I'll finish that one. And then I'll be moving towards getting a full Sisters army. But since I have been doing all that, and while it has been great to break things down and to have these smaller objectives, I really did want to break from 40K because it has been futuristic, grimdark, all over the place. So what I decided to do was look at the Soulblight Gravelords because I had a feeling that I was at least close to having an army for them, or the Spearhead, and it turned out to be true. Now, there is a new Spearhead available for them, and it's pretty much all skeletons. Now, that's not totally lame because skeletons are awesome. However, I'm in the Soulblight Gravelords because I want vampires. So what's even more sad is that, honestly speaking, the Spearhead I'm building only really has the Blood Knight dudes. I guess they're vampires, and the leader. So there's still not a lot of vampires in the Spearhead itself, but that's okay. When I sat down to do this, just today, I started to piece it out and see what I needed and what I already had, and it turned out that I had already built the leader of the Spearhead, which is the Vampire Lord, so no problem there. I also had the these Voltgeist dudes. And I got these for Cursed City because one of the expansions for Cursed City requires these guys. And quick aside, having Cursed City makes setting up a Soulblight Gravelord army pretty darn easy because you get quite a bit of the stuff right off the bat. For example, this spearhead that I'm building requires 20 Rattlebone skeletons. Well, it just so happens that 10 of these skeletons were in the Cursed City, and already we've got them ready to go because we painted the entire box for that. So I just have to base those guys, and I'll have part of the army. Now, the spearhead requires 20 Rattlebones, these 3 Voltgeist dudes, the Vampire Lord, and then 5 of these Blood Knight guys that are on horseback here, which you can see in the picture there at the top. And I have those, but they're not built yet. So I'll be building those soon. And I have to build another 10 Rattlebone skeletons and paint them up. So while I'm halfway there, I still have quite a ways to go. Now, I do have this, which has a ton of skeletons. So you get 1 White King on a skeletal steed, 5 Barrow Knights, and 20 Barrow Guards. I guess these guys wouldn't necessarily count for my Rattlebone skeletons, but the good news is I've got 20 Rattlebone skeletons in the Vangorian court here. So it won't be a big deal to make this work. There's only 2 of the Voltgeist guys are currently primed because this guy broke on the very first day when I moved him to the cabinet. A bunch of stuff of his broke off, so I had to fix him, and he has not been primed since then. Now, technically speaking, I'm looking at what, 10, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 models that I have to paint in order to get this spearhead ready. But hey, it's a nice number to have. There's 19 to do, and then I've got a spearhead. Very, very cool. I'm excited about that aspect. And then I'll have both sides taken care of, some spearhead stuff and combat patrols. I have plenty of spearheads I haven't even built yet. They're waiting over there. I've got some Seraphon, but that's not for me. That's for my wife. I've got the Stormcast Eternals. I built a couple of those models, but I need to finish them. I've got, I got tons. And I'm really focusing on those first and being able to play Spearhead. This weekend, as of this filming of this video, this weekend coming up, they're releasing a new Spearhead set of rules, I guess Season 2 Spearhead, and there's a whole bunch of new Spearheads in it as well. And what's interesting about it is that the Seraphon one has tons of models this time, whereas the one I got has far less. But anyway, back on task. I really do feel like breaking this stuff up is helping. So when we got the Cursed City, we recognized that there were 60 models in that, and that we'd have to basically build them all and paint them all, and then I would feel good about playing the game. And we did. I've got them all here in this big old box. And it's not the greatest video footage for you to see, but they are all in here, and they're all painted. And when we took this on, we just basically we kind of divided up the ones we really wanted to paint ourselves, and then anything that was not on that list, we just grab and do it. Now, a lot of the zombies and stuff, they were speed painted. They look okay. They're definitely passable, but some of the characters are freaking awesome. And several of them will work for the Soulblight Gravelords, which is awesome as well. So ultimately, I think I'll have a Soulblight Gravelord army probably before anything else. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There's so many cool units for that. And when I first got into this, I was more interested in 40K, but the more I looked at Age of Sigmar, the more I really fell in love with the models and stuff. So all around, I have to say it's pretty exciting, at least from this aspect, especially as I'm getting closer to having a few more things finished. Like right now, even though I started in December of 2023, right now I finally feel like I'm ready to play some of these games. I finally understand the rules well enough. I've studied it enough to get the flow of it all, and now I've got some units that are battle ready, painted and based and ready to go, because I really didn't want to show up at a table with unpainted miniatures, and that's just my hang up. I know that other people don't care so much, But for me, it was kind of a requirement. And anyway, now it's there. And these are my plans going forward. I'm not entirely sure what I'll do once I've got a few of these under my belt. I guess I'll just keep finding new small goals to achieve and try and get through all of this stuff. Because when I look at this wall behind the camera here, this is just the stuff that's out. I've got these containers like what you just saw, completely full of minis, tons of them. And it's just daunting. So this step is really going to help me to get to a place where I can finally, use all this stuff and not feel like it's just sitting around. I have a guilt thing about starting something and not having it be finished. Finding a way to get over that is also a very good thing for me. But anyway, how are you approaching your piles of shame or possibility, however you want to call them? What do you do with your stuff? Is there some trick you have to convince yourself or trick yourself mentally to get this stuff done? Let me know in the comments and we'll talk about it. But anyway, this is Robert with Society Case Files signing off.